There's something strange that many people never realize. Most of the exhaustion in life does not come from what is actually happening. It comes from things that haven't even happened yet, but your mind has rehearsed hundreds of times. You haven't lost anything, yet you're already afraid of losing it. You haven't failed, yet in your mind, you've already imagined everything falling apart. No one has rejected you, yet your thoughts have quietly created conversations that never even existed. And the most frightening part is this: your brain does this every single day, almost without you noticing. Many people wake up in the morning with a completely normal body, but after just a few minutes of checking their phone, thinking about work, worrying about the future, or thinking about a certain person, their entire body begins to feel heavy. Not because today is truly terrible, but because your mind has quietly placed dozens of imaginary burdens onto your shoulders. Buddhism once taught something deeply profound. Human suffering does not come only from life itself, but from our attachment to our own thoughts. The more you try to control everything, the more exhausted you become. The more you want everyone to understand you, the more disappointed you feel. And the more you try to force life to go exactly your way, the more anxious you become. Imagine holding a handful of sand in your hand. If you squeeze it too tightly, because you're afraid of losing it, the sand will slip through your fingers even faster. But when you loosen your grip just enough, everything rests naturally in place. Life is very much the same way. Many things that exhaust you are not heavy because they truly are. They feel heavy because you are holding on to them too tightly. A careless comment from someone, another person might forget it within minutes, but some people carry it in their mind for days. A small situation with no outcome yet, and the mind has already created dozens of worst-case scenarios. Even silence can be enough for you to invent countless fears that are not even real. That is why so many people look completely normal on the outside, while inside, their mind has never truly had a moment of rest. Their mind is like a fan that never shuts off. Even when nothing is happening, it keeps spinning. And the more people overthink, the more they begin to believe, if I worry enough, things will somehow turn out better. But the truth is often the opposite. Worry rarely changes the future. It simply ruins the present before the future even arrives. The most peaceful people are not the ones with the most perfect lives. They are the ones who know how to let go of what no longer needs to be held on to. They do not try to win every argument. They do not try to please everyone. And they do not try to control every outcome in life. They understand that some things hurt more the tighter you hold on to them. The more you resist, the more exhausted you become. And sometimes, what saves you is not trying harder. It is learning how to carry life more lightly. So, if your mind feels overwhelmed today, try spending a few quiet minutes simply sitting still and asking yourself, how many of the things I'm worrying about haven't actually happened at all? If you've read this far, comment the number 1 below, because maybe today, you're not the only one learning how to loosen the grip of your mind, just a little. There is a psychological trap that almost everyone falls into at some point, but very few people realize that it is quietly draining their energy every single day. It is the mind's constant need to solve everything. It cannot stay still. When there is no real problem, it creates a new one. And when everything is finally going well, it begins to ask, what if things go wrong in the future? When will something bad happen? What if I'm missing something important? And so, even while sitting in a completely safe room, your body still reacts as if it is in danger. Your heart becomes tighter, your shoulders become tense, and your mind cannot truly rest. The strange part is that many people have lived this way for so long that they begin to believe it is normal. They no longer remember what a truly quiet mind even feels like. Many people eat while still thinking about work. They go out, but their mind remains trapped in the future. They lie in bed, yet their brain continues talking to itself in the dark. And then they ask themselves, why am I always exhausted even when I haven't done anything physically difficult? Because thinking also consumes energy, especially the kind of thoughts that repeat over and over again without ever leading to real action. In Buddhism, this is called the attachment of the mind. You do not just experience something once, you relive it dozens of times inside your head. An old memory, an old sentence, an old mistake. Your body has already moved on, but your mind refuses to leave that place behind. It is like someone replaying the same sad movie every single day, and then wondering why their heart still feels heavy. Some people wake up and immediately check their messages, not because anything important happened, but because they are afraid of the feeling of not knowing, afraid of missing out, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of not being noticed, afraid that something is happening beyond their control. And social media has made this even stronger. You begin comparing your life to everyone else's, comparing appearances, comparing success, comparing relationships, comparing the speed of your growth. But what you are comparing yourself to is usually only the most carefully selected version of someone else's life. While you compare it against the worst moments of your own, that is why the more people keep looking, the more they begin to feel like they are not enough, not talented enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough, not special enough. And so they throw themselves into a race with no finish line, trying to prove their worth to everyone around them. But the heartbreaking part is this: even after achieving what they once wanted, the mind still finds new reasons to feel anxious, because if there is no peace within, no achievement will ever be big enough to fill that emptiness for long. There is a famous Zen saying, "When the mind is restless, everywhere becomes a kind of hell." Many people believe that if they just change jobs, change cities, or change relationships, everything will finally get better. But they carry the same old mind into every new place, and so the same anxiety repeats itself, just in a different form. That is why the people who are truly happy are often not the ones who have the most. They are the ones who know when to stop. They know what is worth holding on to. They know what needs to be let go, and they know which things are truly worth spending emotional energy on. They do not let one negative comment ruin their entire day. They do not let one small failure define their self-worth, and they do not allow other people to control the peace inside their mind, because they understand one thing: if you hand your emotional remote control to everyone else, you will never live peacefully. A stranger says something hurtful. You become upset. A negative comment appears online. You think about it all night. Someone does not reply to your message, and your mind immediately creates endless scenarios. The mind is like water. If you keep stirring it constantly, you will never be able to see anything clearly. But when you slowly stop reacting to everything, a very strange feeling begins to appear. You feel lighter, not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you stop exhausting yourself over things that do not truly matter. You begin to understand that not everything needs an immediate answer. Not everyone has to like you. Not everything you lose is a disaster. And not every emotion needs an instant reaction. Sometimes silence is strength. Letting go is strength. And not taking everything so personally is also strength. A truly mature person is not someone who can control the world. A truly mature person is not someone who can control the world. It is someone who can remain calm even when life does not go according to plan. When things fall apart, you no longer believe everything is over. You begin learning how to breathe more deeply instead of panicking more quickly. And little by little, the mind starts becoming quieter. You sleep better. You eat more peacefully. You begin to see life more lightly. Not because life has suddenly become perfect, but because, finally, you have stopped fighting against everything. So if you've ever felt like your mind is constantly filled with noise, pressure, and endless thoughts that never stop, comment the number 1 below. Because sometimes the thing we need most is not more control. It is learning how to let go, so the heart can finally rest, even just once. And eventually you begin to realize something Buddhism has been teaching for thousands of years. Much of human suffering does not come from the outside world. It comes from the attachments within the mind itself. We cling to emotions. We cling to expectations. We cling to the past. We cling to the belief that everything must happen the way we want it to, and when life no longer follows that path, we begin to suffer. The Buddha once taught that everything in life is impermanent. Emotions will change. People will change. Circumstances will change. Nothing remains exactly the same forever. Yet human beings constantly try to hold everything still. We want people to love us forever the way they did in the beginning. We want work to always go smoothly. We want life to remain stable. We want the future to feel completely certain, when in reality, the very nature of life is change. And the more we resist that truth, the more exhausted the mind becomes. Buddhism does not teach people to run away from life, nor does it tell you to abandon all emotions. It teaches you to see everything with a more peaceful mind. When happiness comes, understand that it too will pass. When sadness comes, understand that it too will pass. Do not cling to anything so tightly that you lose yourself in the process. There is a beautiful concept in Buddhism called letting go. But letting go does not mean giving up. It means still loving, without becoming dependent, still trying, without destroying yourself, still living wholeheartedly, without allowing your mind to be swept away by every storm in life. Like the surface of a lake, when strong winds rise, the water becomes restless. You cannot see anything beneath it. But when the wind finally calms, the lake naturally becomes clear again. The human mind is the same way, and perhaps that is why people who truly understand Buddhism often carry such a gentle presence. They are not better than anyone else. They are not richer than life itself, and they do not escape hardship. But they know how to keep their mind from drowning in everything around them. They understand that you do not need to win everything in order to find peace. You do not need everyone's approval to have value. And you do not need to control everything in order to feel safe. Sometimes all it takes is one slower breath, one less extreme thought, one moment of learning how to forgive, and the mind already becomes much lighter. Buddhism is like a lamp. It does not erase all the darkness in life, but it helps you walk through the darkness without losing yourself. And if you enjoy content about healing, meditation, and Buddhist wisdom that brings peace to the mind in this chaotic world, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos. May your mind be at peace, may your heart feel light, and may you, through this pressure-filled journey of life, still keep a peaceful heart in the middle of a stormy world.